Hi, everyone. So, in my book, Redefining Positive, I talk about the importance of respecting the way people identify. You've probably heard people say, I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. You may identify as a survivor yourself. Being a survivor can feel empowering. At the same time, it's also equally valid not to call yourself a survivor. As someone who has experienced trauma myself, I'm going to explain the three reasons why I don't personally identify as a survivor. Now, the first reason, if we're not talking about surviving a situation that is literally life threatening, such as surviving cancer or a car accident, what exactly does it mean to survive? Usually, we're implying that we got through a bad situation, we're okay on some level, and we're moving forward with our lives. This did not apply to me for the first several years after my trauma experience. Until I got professional help working through the trauma, I didn't feel like all the parts of myself had survived. Being called a survivor downplayed the pain that I was in. It's also happened to me many times that when I was describing something bad that happened, someone else would say to me, "Well, you survived," in a dismissive way, indicating that my story was less bad than I was describing. Emphasizing that I survived downplays how much the experience impacted me. Now, the second reason is that when you hear the word survivor, what kind of person do you think of? What qualities come to mind? I think of words like strong, tough, and resilient. These are not words that I would use to describe myself. While some people who know me may argue that I am those things, the issue is that being called a survivor makes me feel like I'm supposed to be a certain way. My trauma comes from being in an environment where I was told that I had to be a certain kind of person. I was expected to be more outgoing, more athletic, more outdoorsy, more flexible, and a bunch of other things that aren't really me. When I hear survivor, I hear another set of standards that I'm expected to live up to, and nothing about that feels empowering to me. Now, the third reason is that calling myself a survivor deters the focus from where I want it to be. When I speak about my trauma, I'm trying to communicate that what happened was not okay and it never should have happened. Calling myself a survivor feels like putting a positive spin on something that is not positive for me. I don't believe in pushing people to find something positive in every situation, and it's certainly not my intention to find anything positive from my trauma. When I talk about my trauma with people I'm close to, I'm looking for emotional support, which requires acknowledging how bad the experience was, not being proud of me for surviving. And when I speak about my trauma publicly, I'm trying to create social change that will prevent stories like mine from happening. I don't want to be inspiring for having gone through trauma. I want to inspire people to get out of situations that are hurting them and to make the choices that are right for them, even when other people disapprove. And I want to inspire people to validate other people's experiences and to respect people's choices so that fewer stories like mine will happen. So, those are the three reasons why I don't call myself a survivor. Now, if I had to choose between calling myself a survivor or calling myself a victim, I definitely choose victim. Victim to me just means that something bad happened. It doesn't come with a set of standards for how I have to handle the trauma or what kind of person I have to be, and it puts the emphasis where I want it, on the traumatic event itself, rather than putting the responsibility on me to handle it. Unfortunately, the word victim has developed a negative connotation in our culture. People will say things like, that person is just playing the victim, indicating that what the person went through isn't actually that bad. It's at a point where I don't really feel like I can use the word victim in a serious way because it carries so much judgment and invalidation. I think it would be good if we could take back victim as a word that's acceptable to use for ourselves. But until then, I prefer to just say that I've experienced trauma rather than saying that I survived it. How do you feel? Do you call yourself a survivor? Do you have another word that resonates more with you? Leave your answers in the comments below. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.